After 10 years, Ninjago's definitely seen some weird stuff. We've had pillows, board games, whatever this thing is, and of course, we've had some weird episodes. Hey guys, Hfmasters here, and today we're doing the top 10 weirdest Ninjago episodes. Now before I begin, let me just make it clear here that just because something is weird does not necessarily make it bad. Some episodes take a swing and they hit it right out of the park, and other episodes, well, you know, they strike out. But not necessarily bad, but not all of them are winners. Alright, let's get started. From the very intro for this episode, we knew we were in for something special. Ninjago Confidential is a parody of old detective movies, and we got Detective Zane on the case. The episode is mainly in black and white to emulate the noir style, and when Zane is in his detective character, he talks like this.
Yeah, you heard that right. They're being held there by a villain named Unagami.
Even the music is different. When I talk about weird episodes that are actually really good, this is what I'm talking about. This is the greatest episode that nobody asked for. But I mean, come on, we gotta admit, this episode, it may be pretty great, but it's just so weird compared to the rest of the series. Now, in a vacuum, there's definitely an argument to be made that this episode is actually pretty normal. If you watch it without any context at all, it's fine. But if you watch this coming off the Oni trilogy, this episode is really strange. There is a massive tonal shift going from seasons 8 through 10 and this episode, which for someone like me who had watched the seasons before this episode, made it feel really weird. I mean, just think about it. We went from this...
It's Cole.
He's gone.
...to this.
Kai? A little heat, please.
But you know what, maybe I'm the only one that finds the hot tub a little bit weird, so you know what, if you want to disagree, fine, I can live with it. Ninja Ball Run. In this episode, Dareth is too poor to afford to keep the Mojo Dojo, and so what do the ninja do? They enter Ninja Ball Run. What is Ninja Ball Run? It's a giant race across Ninjago, which just happens to have a grand prize of $100,000 so they can save the dojo. And fearing the threat of this absolute Chad of a man's training, Garmanon decides that he's going to try to win the race for himself. It's a weird concept for an episode, especially at this point in Ninjago where pretty much every episode had major story implications. At this point, we were entering the filler part of the final battle. So, coming off these heavily story-driven based episodes where every ninja's getting a lot more character development and all of that, you get this thing where you're just racing around because you gotta save the dojo. Honestly though, the weirdest part about this whole thing has nothing even really to do with this episode, but it's that they actually brought this entire concept back for Prime Empire. The Speedway 5 billion is literally the exact same thing. I don't know why they looked at this and thought, we need to do this again, but they did. But that aside, this episode by itself isn't the worst thing ever, but it definitely is pretty weird. I would be remiss if I did not mention this episode. The Absolute Worst is an aptly named episode because it's the absolute worst episode in all of Ninjago. Okay, fine, I'll be nice. Maybe it's not the worst episode in the series, but it's definitely bottom 2. And you know, bottom 2, a little bit better than bottom 1. You know, we're playing nice with it here, but let's talk about the actual episode. So first off, this episode introduces Fuji Dub, which... I mean, the character kind of speaks for itself. I mean, just by himself, this guy is weird. But let's ignore that. Let's talk about the actual episode here. This episode is the first ever anime episode. Now, people who follow Ninjago knew beforehand that this was coming. But imagine watching this episode without knowing this was going to be a thing. It makes no sense at all. The art style just changes for no apparent reason, and now you're watching this thing. I mean, even if you looked at this and you liked this, you thought it was pretty cool, I mean, you gotta admit, it's so weird to see it in this series. It's a series that up to this point had nothing other than the one singular CGI art style, and then out of nowhere you're getting 2D anime style, which doesn't even look like the original characters. It was just a super weird episode and something I don't know why it needed to exist. So I'm sure some of you guys noticed at the beginning of the video I said top 10 instead of top 5, and you commented all like, ooh, Hfmasters, you said top 10 instead of top 5, you idiot. Nah, you're wrong, because guess what, we're doing honorable mentions. Here we go, Season 2, Episode 1. And why is this episode weird? Because in this episode, the ninja are homeless and they go house hunting. Pirates vs. Ninja. This was the first ever filler episode. I mean, just look at this. The Void. The ninja literally go to space. I don't know what else you want me to tell you. I am Okino. In this episode, we watch as Okino gradually descends into a deep state of depression while constantly saying,
I am Okino.
Kaiju Protocol. This episode was all dark and edgy. Why did they do that? Alright, I technically had 10 episodes, so leave me alone. I don't even know what they were thinking with this episode. Snapcatastrophe revolves around the epic adventures of Gale, Gossip, and Fred finally as they try to just outdo each other as the better news anchor. And then we just get a bunch of fake commercials for some reason. Cause you know what I want to watch after I sit through a bunch of commercials? More fake commercials. There's 3 of them in this episode, and all 3 of them suck. One of them has Dareth. So, you know, that one's by default the best one, but, you know, it still sucks. It's not good. None of them are good. I already said that, but I'm going to say it again because it sucks, and you guys really need to know how much this sucks. Oh, this episode is just so bad. I mean, even from a conceptual standpoint, like, they sat down and they're like, alright, we need to make a new episode of Ninjago. Let's just do a bunch of fake commercials. Everyone's going to love that for sure. No, this episode was so weird and just so bad, too. But that is going to do it for my top 5 weirdest Ninjago episodes. Thank you guys for watching. Leave your own list down below. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.